as the city police, we're not going to enforce this because Chief of Police says this is illegal. Hey guys, welcome to Whiskey, Lead, and Steel. Feelings hurt while you wait. The official podcast of Aggressive Defensive Solution. I'm Lee Curling, and joining me, as always, Rick Sutton, and of course, Jeremy. We haven't seen you in the hot seat for the last few episodes, have we?
It does feel like it's been a while.
It does feel like it's been a while.
I've been off being a naval officer.
He's been off doing things.
I got yelled at for being on here without adult supervision, so, I was put in the penalty box, I think, as I'd like to call it.
Yeah. So today, we're going to talk about something a little bit different, right? We did say that we weren't really going to be talking about new stuff, but in this case, I think this is one of those things that I saw this morning.
Stand by for heavy rolls.
We had a discussion, after I saw this video earlier, and I'm like, yep, this is something we should discuss.
Less a discussion, more a two-way rant.
Three-way rant, maybe.
Gonna be a three-way rant.
So
Extra for that.
I saw a video this morning. It was a news conference. The governor of New Mexico, and she has decided that their gun violence is a public health crisis. So she is doing an executive order, or whatever, as a governor she's determined it is going to be, to prevent individuals from either open carrying or concealed carrying of firearms in New Mexico if they are in an area that is deemed a high crime area.
So Nate, let me make sure I understand this. So the person who jumped through the hoops to get a concealed weapons permit issued by the state and is therefore in compliance with state law to carry a weapon to protect themselves because of the high crime problem, they're no longer allowed to do that because that's going to fix the problem. That was the executive order / Führer's decree. Okay.
So something along those lines, yes. So yes. But one of the interesting things to me is that it's high crime area. Now, that seems a little subjective, potentially. But as of right now, that is only the city of Albuquerque and the surrounding county. And the name of the surrounding county it escapes me at the moment. But so there's only 2 locations.
I think God just weighed in.
God is speaking to us about this. So there's only 2 locations as of right now, right? And of course, it's the same geographic area. Of course, this public safety, or this
public health
this public health crisis, it of course excludes the police. So if you're a police officer, I guess you can continue to carry your gun because you're the government. If you are a security officer, you can carry a gun.
So if you're rich.
So if you're rich, if you have money to be protected by security officers, you can get protected by them. Interestingly enough, we spent the day out on the range. If you're going to a shooting competition, you can carry your gun to a shooting competition, participate in shooting sports, or go to a gun range. But when you're traveling to and from there, it needs that gun has to be unloaded and locked in a separate compartment.
So I gotta ask, the governor of New Mexico, Is her name Wile E. Coyote?
Well,
I gotta ask this. I'm gonna throw this out to the interwebs. How friggin' dumb do you have to be to come up with that silly bullshit?
and to your point, so picking apart certain things, so as we've talked about before, words have meaning and meanings matter. Yeah. But additionally, statistics say what you want them to. Exactly. So, high threat area or high crime area.
How is that crime a health issue?
Well, but how
people die.
So you
die. So therefore, it's an issue to people's health.
So
that's how that connection is. All right, we keep interrupting poor Jeremy. He hasn't been on the show in so long. He doesn't know how to get a word.
I got so much to say.
I gotta ask though. Can I carry my gun if I have my vaccine and my boosters?
I'm gonna let that one marinate.
So let that one marinate. Okay, go ahead, Jeremy. Let's see if you can remember what you were saying.
But words have meaning and meanings matter. Mm-hmm. Okay, on that, based off what you said there, you cannot open or concealed carry a firearm. Is it a firearm or just a handgun? Because if that's the case, you're right. I'm not going to carry my handgun. I'm going to carry my friggin' riot gun.
You know what? I'd have to go look. I'd have to go look back. But you're right.
But yes,
carry my scorpion with a break.
Like the gun community has been doing now for the last 20 years, is we've been finding the definition of the law, and then finding something just outside of it: the braces, the shockwave, non-shotgun, non-handgun firearm.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Advice. But finding where the words stop and where I've got room to play.
Right.
The statistics part of it, though, is okay. You talked about how wide-ranging a public health crisis or a high threat area could be. Mm-hmm. You're right. Albuquerque, giant population, friggin' however many millions or whatnot. Okay, if there's 200 shootings a month. Okay, that makes it a high crime area. Whatever that number is. But because statistics say what you want them to, okay, if I go out to the rural area, population 2,000, mm-hmm. and there's one shooting that month, per capita, that is a higher threat area than Albuquerque. Right. So now can none of the ranchers carry their handguns? So
no, they can carry their guns on your private property.
Yeah, I was gonna say so. I'm not getting
and since most ranches are bigger than Virginia Beach,
there is more, right? There is more. Wait, there's more, right?
Yeah. Right? We moved beyond this dumbass.
Yeah. So there is more. So if you are on private property, you do not. She's not going to take away your right to self-defense on your own property. I guess you can carry the gun around there.
Yeah, because I'm worried about being mugged on my fucking ranch.
Yet. But what is evident is that this is a response to the murder of an 11-year-old. And further in the article that kind of is some of the backstory to where this started, is it is related to the high juvenile crime within Albuquerque mm-hmm. and the county. So what we're saying is juveniles,
feral fucking children
that cannot legally carry a gun
and can't get a concealed weapons permit.
And can't get a concealed weapon, right?
Or buy it,
right?
Yeah.
So you may not defend yourself because of a high crime, high murder rate because of children. So we're going to say adults are now subject to what children have done. Right, so
because there are crackheads, you cannot have aspirin. Because people who are not allowed to be in possession of guns are in possession of guns and committing fucking crimes, and because of that, you can't defend yourself from these fucking savage, feral fucking creatures.
So
Fucking bravo.
So let me continue.
Yeah, sorry.
This would have been about a 5-minute thing if I didn't have them jumping in here. Although all very good rants. Makes me look like the sane one. So this is a 30-day cooling off period. So this executive order is 30 days. So the public health crisis
Flatten the curve.
So apparently this public health crisis is only 30 days long, right? So
You all stop killing each other for 30 days, and we can go back to normal.
So she more or less said those words. It's 30 days cooling off period. If we could stop this for 30 days, it'll be okay. Really? Really?
But states that...
But wait. So the local law enforcement in New Mexico has been very vocal about this isn't the right methodology in order to take care of the crime issue.
And responsible. I think they've also been responsible.
And responsible, right? It's not a responsible way to take care of the crime issue. To the point that the local sheriff of the county, I don't want to put words in his mouth, he released a fairly long statement that, to paraphrase, was, I'm concerned about placing my deputies in the position of enforcing this.
Because it's unconstitutional.
Yeah. He did not use the word unconstitutional in his statement, but I think he probably was feeling that way.
Because it
now,
is.
The chief of police of the city of Albuquerque said the Albuquerque Police Department will not be enforcing this.
Because as a chief of police, he's familiar with the U.S. Constitution, and he's familiar with the fact that, yeah, the fucking idiot governor has overstepped her bounds as it pertains to 2A U.S. Constitution, and he recognizes that any of his people who go out and enforce this stupid ass code put themselves in jeopardy of being charged with a civil rights violation in federal court under 1983.
Now, the interesting piece of that is the governor.
Because it gets better.
The governor
Wiley
said
Coyote.
it's okay that the city of Albuquerque Police Department does not enforce this because I'm sending the state police into Albuquerque and the county in order to enforce my edict.
Well,
Now-
this is not the National Guard.
So what we've done now is we have the sheriff go, I'm concerned about having my deputies. He in his statement he does not say they will
won't
or
do
will
it.
not,
No.
but he does say I have concern over this. You have the chief of police who has said we will not, but both of them have stepped aside to say the state police can come in and enforce this unconstitutional edict. And the governor has so much as said she expects legal challenges and she's ready for the fight. So she'll spend taxpayer dollars to defend this, and she knows up front that it's a legal fight, and she knows that she is on shaky, at best, legal ground. But here you have the local law enforcement that says, we're going to stand back and we're going to let somebody else bring in a law enforcement agency to enforce a law or a edict. We'll just call it an edict because it's not really a law that we believe is unlawful. Now we had a discussion about that, so feel free to jump in there.
So, first off, then the governor says, I am sending in my troops, and we will enforce this code, and that is what you will do, and you will comply, or you will get on the train. Hey, I would imagine the chief of police in Berlin said, I'm not fucking with the stormtroopers. You do your thing.
Right?
Because that's the shit that's happening. Yeah, I would have couched it another way, but I can't do a really good impersonation of Chairman Mao sending his fucking people in to murder folks. So I went with the whole German thing. It's a cultural thing. What do you think?
So,
Other than this, some bullshit, to quote my friend Adrian Majet.
well, I appreciate your impersonations, which I cannot do justice of. I come back to numbers. Because, I don't know, I'm fucked up like that.
You're a number guy.
And number guy.
But,
Chang.
One, is this going to move the needle, so to speak? Is this going to cause any less, we'll categorize it, gun deaths?
Of course it will. Because the 11-year-olds and the 12-year-olds who are out here murdering each other will see that the good people of Albuquerque can't defend themselves. And so it wouldn't be fair to run out there and fucking put them. Because it wouldn't be fair for me to be a criminal and take advantage of you following the law and disarming yourself.
But, go to USCCA's website and see
Yeah.
how many concealed carry holders each year are out robbing 7-Elevens. Not a whole hell of a lot. Okay? I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but I'll go with not a whole hell of a lot.
I'll back your numbers up. I spent 29 years as a Virginia Beach police officer. I do not recall ever arresting anybody who is a concealed weapons permit possessor committing, just me, a violent or gun-related crime.
But so we'll agree this is feel-good legislation. I need to do something.
Right.
I am doing something.
Right.
Okay, we're not going to talk about whether this does or doesn't fucking do anything, which is not going to. But okay, the second one. All right, so you've got people dying from needless gun violence. Okay, is it 200 a year, 300 a year, 500 a year? Okay, let's compare that to how many fat asses are dying from fucking heart attacks. And are we going to shut down fucking McDonald's on every fucking city block until people stop keeling over in the fucking ER?
I like it.
Where's the public health crisis? Maybe if we did a march to end heart attacks, you know what? That would actually do something to end heart attacks.
To be fair, if Mayor Bloomberg said you can't have a big gulp because it'll kill you, and you're too irresponsible to make your own fucking decisions about life, unless, of course, what your decision about life is to, kill somebody that just hasn't been able to put their foot on the ground yet. But I digress.
But, a march to end heart attacks would actually help end heart attacks.
Because you would get exercise. So therefore,
I don't know. Because every time I work the rock and roll half marathon, somebody croaks.
somebody died.
That's
true.
whatever. Yeah, it's an unpopulated planet.
That's why I don't run half marathons.
Dude, this is a rabbit hole. This is a rabbit hole. He's a runner. I have never, not ever, never ever seen anybody at mile 20 or better smiling.
Fair point.
Mile 20 is okay. Mile 21, 22, 23.
Yeah, you're not smiling.
No, I'm not smiling.
Yeah.
But
No.
anyways,
Yeah.
that's what I get at. But, so the other one, all right, car deaths. We taking away driver's licenses? Because you're fucking texting and driving, you can't be responsible. Now I'm going to take away yours.
You take away your phone. Nobody should be allowed to have an iPhone because of car deaths.
Where's the personal responsibility in this one?
I think this would be a good.
I think every iPhone should be locked if it is traveling in excess of 12 miles an hour.
That's not a bad idea.
Every single one.
Default from the factory, it does that actually.
Yes. There is car mode, absolutely, but you shouldn't be able to override that.
No.
But what about the passengers? Nope, because maybe you're not really a passenger and you say you are.
Well, maybe you're having a conversation while you're looking at your phone. You're going to distract somebody. I got an idea. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good ideas out here. So here's my thought: Governor Wile E. Coyote.
Super.
Hear me out. Your idea is what it is. It's a mediocre idea. Maybe you would have a better idea. Maybe if you got a good night's sleep, you'd have a better idea. And probably the best way to get a good night's sleep is to drink a lot of NyQuil and then put something airtight over your head and take a nap. And when you wake up, you'll have really good ideas. It's my thought. That's why I live in the lovely and sovereign Commonwealth. That's another thing. So we live in Virginia. I don't know about Albuquerque. I don't know about New Mexico, but I know this, and I'm sure Glenn Youngkin's not going to come up with some bullshit like this. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, though, if the police or the sheriff, if any law enforcement is engaged in an illegal arrest of you, you have the right to resist that arrest up to the point, if necessary, of taking the life of the illegally arresting officer. So, we talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
If a New Mexico state trooper starts to arrest somebody in downtown Albuquerque for violating Wile E. Coyote's bullshit rule, which is not illegal, and which is not a legal thing to do, and an Albuquerque police officer intervenes and arrests the state trooper, and it comes to gunplay, who's in the right on that one? I mean, it's easy to figure out because we know who's going to be standing on the moral high ground when that happens.
It to me, this rolls back to the earlier statement I had made. You take that out to an extreme, and two police officers getting into that kind of altercation. Let's face it, any interaction with a police officer is a gun is involved.
It's an armed
Right?
conflict.
It is, right? So you want to talk about, you want to talk about guns, right? And conflict. Anytime a police officer is involved, guns are involved.
Yep.
Bottom line. Put two police officers, standing in conflict with one another.
And one of them being a state trooper.
One of them, yeah. So, but it goes back to my earlier statement of saying, okay, we're not, as the city police, we're not going to enforce this because Chief of Police says this is illegal. He may not use that word publicly, but that's what he said.
Yep.
And we are not going to violate the rights of our citizens because it's a crime to take their property.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to allow the state police to come in and violate the rights of our citizens.
Yep.
So, and as a police officer, do you
Passive
not
response.
have an obligation to protect the citizens?
At least in Virginia you do. I don't know about
in
Mexico,
Virginia,
but I know in Virginia
In
you do.
Virginia you do. So therefore, a state trooper coming in and you knowingly allowing, based on the legal review from your chief of police, the only reason why he would say, I'm not going to do this, is because he has made the determination this is illegal.
Yes.
So therefore, those that work for him are under the guise that this is illegal, you will not enforce it. If someone then is trying to enforce it in Virginia, you should have a legal obligation to protect that individual that's liberty is at risk.
This just came to my thought process of this one. As much as I am not necessarily pro-attorney, I will say this. Steve Washington, Esquire, if you practice in New Mexico, think about this. So, follow this one. So you are a New Mexico resident, and you're in Albuquerque, and you have a concealed weapons permit, and or you're carrying open carry, which I presume they have a law that says you can open carry in New Mexico. And then Wile E. Coyote says you're not allowed to. And so, in the presence of an Albuquerque police officer and or a deputy from the surrounding jurisdiction, a New Mexico state trooper arrests you for doing this. It would seem to me, based on my knowledge and experience, that at that stage of the game, you would have available to you not only from a criminal aspect through 1983 U.S. Code, but also civil rights and a civil rights violation, but also from a civil litigation aspect, the governor has committed the crime of having this happen. The trooper who has arrested you, and therefore his organization, is civilly liable for this. And the individual officer and their parent agency that stood by while it happened is also civilly liable. So, how long does it take to determine residency in New Mexico? And how long does it take for me to get a concealed weapons permit if I knew there next week? Because I will sue all y'all. And it'll all come to the feet of the governor. But at the end of the day, you know, when I was a Virginia Beach police officer, if I broke the law, knowingly and intentionally broke the law, not only was I hung out to dry, and not only was I civilly and criminally liable, but my agency and my city became civilly liable. So think about that, Wile E. Coyote. And maybe when your organization, when your state goes bankrupt from all the lawsuits, maybe then you'll figure out to do something.
Raise property taxes. Get rid of farmers.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
You know, I think the reality is this will probably be a short-lived. Yeah, it'll probably be a short-lived thing, right? I think this is a grandstanding public,
Politician.
public display of I'm giving this, and it is interesting that the Albuquerque police chief was sitting right next to her as she was going through this, and the look on his face was not was
supportive.
was not like Jeremy's right now. Hey, there was no smile.
Like Sean
there was no
Johnson's.
support. There was a strong closed clenched jaw. At least that's the way it looked. So, but I do believe this is one of those grandstanding political statements that is not going to stand the first court case. But if it does,
Nor is it going to do anything to actually end these so-called crises.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's really not going to address anything.
it certainly does not truly address the root of what the problem is. And I think the bigger piece to that is some of the things that we are seeing with not only gun laws, but other laws, but gun laws being in particular of going, we are willing to admit the problem, in this case, juvenile violence, but let's take away the rights of adults who have gone through a vetting process. Let's violate their rights and take away their right to self-defense because of criminal activity
That we're not willing to do anything about.
And the whole point of this 30 days is she wants to go through all of this. Well, we'll do these polls and we'll do this research and we'll do these studies and we'll do all this stuff over the next 30 days. To what end? And none of it is really, when you get down to the basis, or when you break it down to the very end, none of it has to do with whether or not somebody is open carrying or concealed carrying a gun, right? Yep. It is analyzing data, right? Jeremy, you want to analyze data? They're going to analyze data for 30 days, but we're going to take away your guns and your right to self-defense for those 30 days, even though buried in between the lines, we're saying the problem is juvenile gun violence in the state.
Yep.
So two final thoughts. Has she canceled reciprocity for any of the other states that recognize?
Good
so question. If New Mexico recognizes Virginia concealed carry permits,
road trip.
So thought number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is sometimes the old ways are better, and we go back to black powder. Break out your 1861 revolver. Not a firearm.
That's not a fire. That's
right.
not a firearm.
I got one right there.
There we go.
68 caliber lead ball.
So on a side note, based on your knowledge, based on your experience, do you think anything that asinine, that completely idiotic, would ever be issued from the office of the governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia if it were the Honorable Lee Stewart Curling?
No.
See, Lee Curling, if he was the governor of Virginia, would not do that kind of dumb shit. So understand that next time,
Or if he
governorship
was the mayor of Fredericksburg,
the mayor of Fredericksburg. Oh, Fredericksburg sucks though.
he could turn it around.
Or he could be the mayor of Chesapeake, and we could secede. We could just become the Commonwealth of Chesapeake.
Or we make Fredericksburg Northern Chesapeake.
Ooh. Governor Curling could allow us to annex Fredericksburg and
Hey
everything.
guys,
between there.
appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you next week
Be
on
safe.
Whiskey, Lead, and Steel.
Hope you had fun. We did.
Later.